Before we let you go, President Biden took what looked like a pretty hard fall when he was at the Air Force Academy commencement yesterday. Yeah. Was springing off, when he got back to the White House later in the day. How is he doing this morning? What are you hearing from the White House?
Yeah, I think his current state was indicative of the kind of jig that he did when he got back to the White House. We were waiting for him. We wanted to ask him how he was doing. We'd heard from White House officials he was fine. Wanted to hear from the president. Made a joke about it. Said he got sandbagged. Fairly clever, although he had a couple of hours on a flight to come up with it. Look, everything that we've heard is he's totally fine. He was moving totally fine last night. The fall, as you noted, when you saw it happen live, I mean, it was hard. It was fast. And I think everybody was very concerned. He's 80, and I think that's just the reality here of any time the president stumbles or looks any bit uneven, but got back to his seat on his own volition. The culprit was a sandbag. No comment yet from the sandbag on what the sandbag did or if it feels responsible, but everything here seems to be totally fine, guys.
I know, though, that you do have those calls out. So, Phil, let us know when you hear back from the sandbag or it's spokespecs.
Also, I will add, Phil, thank you. Only Phil can make that joke because Phil is very quick with the jokes.
He doesn't need 2 hours on Air Force One to come up with that. As we mentioned, you're the co-chair for the president's re-election campaign. We saw that hard fall. Then we saw, as our Phil Mattingly said, his little jig when he got off the plane making a joke. Have you been in touch, though, with the president, excuse me, in terms of how he's doing this morning, how he's feeling?
I have not talked to the president this morning. I plan to talk with him later today. I saw him arriving back at the White House last night doing his little jig. And I think that irrespective of whether it took him 2 hours to come up with it, getting sandbag was a pretty good way to respond to this.
So you would endorse that joke. Look, he's going to get a little pushback. There has been much made. I don't need to tell you of his age. Are you concerned at all that this will have an impact on the campaign?
Yes, I've been saying all the time, age will have an impact. But whether or not it's determinative, I think will determine be dependent upon whether or not he responds going forward and the way he responds. Look, I'm more than 2 years older than the president, and I do just fine. I don't want to have a fall, but if I do, I hope I get up as good as he did.
All right, we'll look for your joke afterwards, too. Congressman Clyburn, good to have you with us this morning, sir. Thank you.
President Biden tripped over a sandbag and fell. Because this wasn't the president's first stumble, and he is 80 years old, the incident has gotten a lot of attention.
According to White House officials, totally fine.
Jeremy, yesterday we saw the president take what appeared to be a pretty hard fall at that commencement speech at the Air Force. How's he doing? We know he made a joke of it. He made a lot of light of it. But do we know how he's doing?
Well, the White House says that he is totally fine, that he simply tripped over that sandbag that was left on the stage and we should note that this came after he shook hands and saluted cadets for over 90 minutes on stage yesterday, hundreds of those cadets. But the president did indeed make light of it. You can see how he's doing for yourself. Take a look at how he returned to the White House last night. And you see the president there doing a little bit of a two-step there to show folks that he's doing just fine. That's how the White House said he was doing, and looks that way, too.
Little two-step, the sandbag shuffle. We'll come up with lots of names for it. Jeremy, Lauren, nice to see you both this morning. Thank you.
Well, also even just events like what happened yesterday, the fall at the Air Force Academy, there's, rightly or wrongly, a lot of attention on it. If you were advising President Biden right now, how do you think he should approach the upcoming race?
Well, look, I think that you can't change your age. And so those kinds of incidents are going to get outsized attention. I thought it was really interesting that the day that he tripped over a sandbag and fell, he kept the American economy from falling into a great big and disastrous hole, which seems more important to me. But the fact is that age is going to continue to be an issue for him. And so he tells people, watch me. And I think the reason he's speaking to the nation tonight is he wants people to focus on the substantive things that he's doing and not on things like the trip at the Air Force Academy.